One fixed one airplane accidentally crashed into an area controlled by drug dealers. It quickly attracted the attention of 3 drug dealers. They opened the door. I found a wooden box welded to death by chains. A few people thought they were rich. There must be something in the box, baby. So I went into the cabin. 2 men are responsible for moving the wooden box down, and the boss goes to the cab to check. Found a female pilot in a deep coma, looking at each other exposed to the spring outside. The boss's eyes lit up in an instant. He directly extended the salty pig's hand to the woman. But I didn't expect this touch. A large sum of cash was found, just blocked by the stuck seat belt. So he took out his pen. Intends to cut off the seat belt to obtain property. Result next second. The boss would never have thought. How could my own death be so miserable? But he wasn't wrong at all. Because the woman is the famous Domineker. Even the German mafia boss. All died at his hands. And the 2 men outside. The matter is trying to open the box. Seeing that the chain can't be broken at all, one of them is going to get the vice. But as soon as he got to the side of the car, there was a sound behind him. The person who came looked back and found that the companion was already cold. Frightened, he was about to flee. I had a gun in my back. That's right, it's Nick. Nick didn't say a word. Remove his weapon first. Then he threatened the man. Move the box into the back hole of the pickup truck. Look at the man's laborious behavior. And it's clearly not very lightweight. Wait until the man gets the box into the pickup truck. Nick gave him a bullet without hesitation. And that's for shooting me down. Then drove the drug dealer's car away from the scene. But when you come to the gas station to refuel, the car was still recognized by the refueling staff. Because these drug dealers are local. So in order to avoid some unnecessary trouble, entangled yourself in a moat buried in a wooden box full of chains. Then came to a remote wasteland, raise a barrel of gasoline, all delivered to the whole pickup truck. A fire ignited the pickup truck and turned it to ashes. I thought this would erase my traces. But I don't know, it's all his whims. Because that day, the police have already found the bodies of 3 people, and the leader among them, it turned out to be the brother-in-law of the local sheriff. Due to this relationship, causing the local inspector to leak everything, police officers are also only concerned with making money. Even the gold teeth in the mouths of the dead. The means are extremely cruel. Agent Leo is an exception. Envy against criminals. Chief Lucas is trying to find the murderer. All the electrocardiograms in the town, all caught. He is the law in this land. No one dares to go against his will. If the other party dares to talk back or refuses to admit it, then the only thing waiting for them is the sulfuric acid pool. And all this is happening. It was all recorded by Leo with a pinhole camera, because he couldn't stand the deeds of this group of people. I'm going to find a chance to take them down in one fell swoop. Nick, who cleaned up the mess at night. I found a local bar. I'm going to have a drink here to crush the shock, but accidentally met Leo, who was searching for new faces. See Nick alone. So Leo came to him. Out of kindness, he advised Nick to leave as soon as possible, because it's not peaceful here these days. But the voice just fell. Nick was hit by a young man and woman. The 2 almost clashed. Fortunately, Leo stopped it in time. This calmed the anger of the 2, and Nick also dropped his guard against Leo. Then the 2 went back to Leo's place. After the spring festival, the 2 woke up tired. Leo was just about to ask Nick what he was doing here, but then his cell phone suddenly rang. It's the city sheriff. Due to the urgency of the situation, he had to rush over. If you want to go to the toilet, go to my sister's room. Leo's sister's name is Kayla. Since the death of her husband, he returned to his mother's house with his 3 children, living with Leo and his father. So life is more ending, but the family is happier together. Tonight is the eldest daughter's birthday. Kayla threw a lively party for him. It was very atmospheric. And there was Nick drinking and watching. I don't know what's on my mind. And Leo is in his room watching the video. The content inside. It was Lucas who led. They killed innocent evidence. That's 40 hours. He then contacted officials from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I hope the Ministry of Internal Affairs can join forces with the US Love Bureau. Eradicate completely. This is the obvious. 2. The voice just fell. The officer threw away the cigarette, but in his hand, and issued an order. Random. Several heavily armed gangsters got out of the car. Leo didn't even realize this. He was knocked unconscious by the other party. Soon the night passed. At this time, Leo has been beaten beyond recognition, and across from him was Sergeant Lucas. And the reason why the other party committed atrocities against Leo just forced him to hand over a copy of that evidence. And such a move, it has also determined his outcome. Sure enough, Dior's had appeared on his doorstep, along with his group. Inhuman colleague, Kayla saw this. The whole person almost collapsed. The eldest niece is also crying bitterly in her boyfriend's arms. The leading fat man sighed, but the next second, his expression suddenly changed, because he saw a woman with a strong aura. This is Nick. Exist. The police officers at the scene also showed puzzled expressions. Nick swaggered towards the crowd. The fat man immediately perked up. At this moment, the men have found the computer with the backup, just about to evacuate the phone in the fat man's pocket. But suddenly remembered, it's from Lucas. Who wants first? The fat man was just about to direct his subordinates. A bullet hit the fence next to it. It was Leo's father who fired the gun. All police ready, and the gun that the fat man took out was also snatched by Nick. Sent a few bullets into his body. The fat man still wants to resist. Nick just blew his head off, then dragged the fat man's body. The whole person hides behind him. Let the bullets of the cheats come. But it didn't affect him at all. Wait until the other party changes the bomb. Nick immediately pushed the fat man in front of him away. Raise your gun and start pumping at this group of people. One bullet kills one person without stress. After emptying the tamper, Nick grabbed the driver's weapon, pulled the trigger quickly to kill it, and then he shoots the guy who's trying to get away, although the other party eventually ran away. But it's all in his plan. Turned Nick. The computer with the backup was removed from the car. Looking at Leo's head at the door, he didn't know what to say for a moment. Pretty soon, the fleeing officer met with Sergeant Lucas. After learning that his subordinates, after all the news of death, Lucas reports directly to the mother. Blame this group of subordinates for being trash. But when I learned that, when a foreign woman killed these people, Lucas couldn't believe it for a moment. He wants to see, who is this foreign woman? Also ordered his men to block all intersections. Don't let go of a single fly. Then he slowly came to the door of Leo's house. I saw the corpses of my subordinates all over the ground, and Nick comes out with a gun in his hand. I have to see you with my own eyes. Now that you have seen me, what's next? We make a deal. I am Santiago, the chief of police. I am alone, but my offices are not far. There's no way out. You know, no matter how good you are, you can't save this family, Lucas said. As soon as Nick hands over the computer that stored the evidence, he can choose to let go of Nick and the family. But Nick says the computer can give him, but they have to wait until they are completely out of danger. Apparently Nick's proposal didn't agree either. He didn't want to take such a risk. The nearest town is 20 miles away, and the road has been completely blocked by them. Kayla is still pregnant, and a father in a wheelchair who doesn't own a car. It's almost impossible to leave. So, Lucas wants Nick to think seriously about it. Don't lose your life because of a bunch of strangers, and miss all the fun. I'd rather stick around. Nick's decision also shows he next will face all difficulties with this family. But it's exactly as Lucas said. It doesn't work on the mainland. If you want to get out of here, you have to take a small road. It is easier to hide when traveling in the evening. But Lucas will definitely use the night to attack them. So if you want to leave, you have to kill a wave of people first. So they immediately started preparing. First board all the windows in the room, all dead. Then pour a whole bucket of cooking oil into the pot. Heat to boiling point with high heat. Spotlights in the warehouse. All move to the roof of the front yard. Connect the main switch of the warehouse through wires. At this time, the support called by Lucas has also arrived. A whole truckload of heavily armed SWAT officers. That's 30 people. Nick hears backup on the walkie-talkie. In place message, he kept Lucy in the warehouse. The two set the password with the walkie-talkie. As soon as Lucy receives the instruction, push the switch up immediately, so the spotlights in the yard will turn on. Each session must last more than 5 seconds. Human vision goes from light to dark. It takes 10 minutes to fully recover. Temporary blindness occurs when exposed to bright light, and then he will take decisive action to kill them. However, just as Nick was explaining to Lucy, Kayla's water broke inside. Anyone who has given birth knows. Broken amniotic fluid for children. But what about the current situation? And Nick noticed the water on the floor, but there was nothing he could do. The conflict is about to begin. So he immediately hit Kayla and the others in the bathroom, then used the same color as the bathroom wall. Sealed the bathroom, confused the audience in this way. At this moment, the SWAT team outside, it has already started to feel towards the yard. After settling in with this family, Nick also quickly ducked behind the car. Just as the SWAT team arrived, Nick sent the signal on the walkie-talkie. Lucy also quickly closed the switch. The strong light instantly engulfs the crowd. Pupils rapidly constrict under self-defense. Everyone is incapacitated, standing there blankly. As Lucy pulls the switch, Nick's massacre begins. Nick goes back into hiding after a fight, and these people don't even notice it. Then Lucy turned the switch back on, same as the beginning. These people have no plan. Even the Dodge seems to have forgotten. As the light falls, Nick dashed into the crowd again. Another fight, due to chaos on site. There have even been cases of manslaughter of teammates. Everyone started shooting blindly, and Nick was moving through the crowd, waving the dagger in his hand. With the last man falling to the ground, the entire squad was wiped out. Captain sees this. Directly ordered the second team to continue the attack. The team just arrived in the yard. I saw the corpses of my companions all over the ground, and Nick is hiding under one of them. Take out your weapons and get ready. Kayla in the bathroom is also in pain at this time. The pain before giving birth made him restless. At the same time, Nick also sent a signal with the walkie-talkie. Everyone goes temporarily blind. There was panic all around them. With the lights off, Nick dashed out of the crowd, continued to output wildly towards this group of people. He's like a female version of death. It seemed bulletproof. The strength of the armed forces is within him. It's like a piece of tofu in front of you. Take it all effortlessly. Not a single survivor. And he didn't even have a trace of damage himself. At this time, Kayla in the house has also come to a critical moment. The intense pain forced him to use go all out to give birth. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. In the end, the power of motherly love overcame the pain. Kayla gave birth to a boy. Mother and child are safe. The captain lost his mind when he saw this scene. He asked the last few people around him to continue the attack. He also took the heavy firepower of one of them. But these people just entered the room. I was caught by the radio playing next to me and fired a barrage of bullets. And this operation just fell into Nick's trap. Seeing that the last few people are also cold, the captain was even more annoyed. It's one way to hold a bazooka directly at the house. Luckily, Nick lifted the TV in time, and we managed to defuse a crisis. But the huge shock wave still knocked him hard. Then the captain strode into the room, and he bumped into Nick. The hot oil poured over instantly smells fragrant. Then came the pan attack. The old man also held a gun and kept outputting, but missed a shot. Nick got into a fight with the captain. The weapon that went off in the tear hit the old man, and Nick has also been suppressed by the opponent. Several people rushed in at the same time. I heard the baby in the bathroom. The cry immediately raised the butt of the gun and smashed open the wooden board. 3 people are complete. Nick in the house, also strangled by the captain. Just about to suffocate. He wielded power, kicked the pistol that the old man dropped. Until this moment, their troubles are completely solved. But the old man also closed his eyes completely. Maybe it's all a relief for him. The next day, at dawn, Nick spilled gasoline all over the house. Then a fire turned this place to ashes. Then, with the rest of the men, they began to flee the town. Kayla has made an appointment with her boyfriend just now. We'll pick them up and get them out of here. If all goes well, after today they can start a new life. But there is always a gap between ideals and reality. Not long after Nick and the others left, after inspection by subordinates, no bodies of the family were found inside. They think they might be buried under the rubble. But Lucas is pretty sure they escaped. This is a woman at the scene, dressed luxuriously and arrogant. This person is the local drug dealer that Lucas serves. Lucas told Avila, Nick has evidence of their crimes. Once these things are published, the consequences are unimaginable. I have no other active power, so I hope Avila can help. Kill the escaped Nichols. Avila did not refuse after listening, because it involves his drug empire. Have to pay attention. And Nick on the other side. At this time, I have also seen Walker waiting to be picked up. But just as the family got in the car to leave, a bullet pierced through Walker's head. It turns out that Avila even sent snipers, even a large number of armed forces. Nick pulled the trigger without hesitation, tangled with each other. These guys are all very well trained, but still not enough in front of Nick. Lucy took the opportunity to quickly get into the cab, started the car in a hail of bullets. Then he rushed out with 1 foot of the accelerator. And by this time Nick had completely settled the battle. Watching the departing ambulance, there was even a smile on his face. But unfortunately, the next second a car is equipped with heavy weapons trucks appeared in front of them. Nick rushed over immediately when he saw this, but still failed to stop the other party. Lucy used her power to climb out of the car. Raise your weapon and shoot at the gunman. After killing someone, he was also beaten into a sieve by the machine gun, and the car with Kayla and her son, also under the fire of the other party. There was a huge explosion. Nick was furious when he saw the scene. Just shoot and kill the machine gunner, and get off ready to pay. Hit the driver. But even so, this tragedy is irreversible, and the culprit who caused it all, Lucas and drug dealer Avila, are still at large. But obviously, Nick couldn't have given them a chance to live. He will first. Lucas' criminal evidence was sent to the TV station. Publish his crimes and let the world know. Lucas was desperate to find Avila to take him in, and this scene was all part of Nick's plan. And Nick goes outside. The wooden box was dug out of the ground. Open, it was full of weapons, equipment, and money. Passport, yes, these are his trump cards. Nick is arming himself to the teeth. Then comes his moment of revenge. The camera turns Lucas dead in the bathtub. The whole villa is littered with corpses. Even Avila fell in a pool of blood, and Nick swaggers out of the villa. Successfully avenged this drama for this family.